This is iMedic's free webinar, PLAB route to UK, and we invited 3 UK doctors to talk about this topic. So, first speaker will be talking about IELTS, second will be talking about PLAB 1, and the third speaker will be talking about PLAB 2. So, the first speaker is Dr. Adnan Ghori. He's a GP training in the UK, and is from Pakistan, while the second speaker is Dr. Boluwatito Balogun from Nigeria, and he's a junior clinical fellow in the UK. While the third speaker is Dr. Pepple, is a UK GP and is from Nigeria too. So before we start, I'll give you a brief introduction about iMedics, what the organization is all about. iMedics is an e-learning organization, and so the organization just basically helps to make the journey to be a doctor in the UK easier. So from entering medical school in the UK to helping international medical graduates work in the UK, and also help them in their training process in the UK, depending on the training specialty. So by this, like they provide free question bank to help to make this route easier. So the PLAB route, they have question bank for that. And also if people want to enter gain admission into the university in the UK, they have the UCAT free question banks. Then from other specialty like the MRCP, the MRCGP, so different specialty, and some they are free question bank. We are still getting free question banks uploaded depending on the specialty for now. But for now, I think those are the question banks that are there with some other ones. So you can just check out the websites and see. Okay, so that's one part already. So I think we'll be starting now. Then as we go on, after each speaker start with their presentation, I'll also be talking, saying some things about the organization. So, and before I forget, the organization is based in the UK, in Coventry, and was founded by 2 UK GPs, Dr. Moore and Dr. Sandhu. Dr. Moore was the person you saw earlier. So there are 2 UK GP, and there are also NHS clinical entrepreneurs. So, Dr. Adnan, are you ready? So we can start the presentation.
Yes, please. Good afternoon. Good. I don't know wherever who was listening me is. Well, I don't know what is GMT time there, but anyway, good afternoon. In UK is good afternoon. Anyone and everyone, please. Thank you very much. Firstly, I just wanted to tell that quick, brief, not the briefly, but just quickly for the iMedics. To be very honest, it's helped me a lot, because I was using, when I was preparing for my exam, so I was using other materials, because as you know, the student, when you have multiple experience, and you know, when you join the group for others, people also, so they suggest you multiple things, go this one, go that one, then you just go around the bushes. So I went for the iMedics, my opinion, so it's helped me a lot. And I am suggesting everyone who is, listening to me, is must go for the iMedics question bank, whoever, whatever they are preparing for. I think, and my second suggestion will be that iMedics should prepare for the IELTS also, for the people, to train the people who are like abroad or who are in outside the UK. Anyway, thank you very much. So that's about the quick, introduction for my past experience for the iMedics one. Basically, IELTS is International English Language Testing System. So it's old one, founded in 1989, and it is jointly managed by the Council, British Council, IELTS Australia, and Cambridge Assessment. They offered I think up to 4 times a month or 48 times in a year, but I don't know now what they changed. This basically they evaluate your knowledge with the listening, reading, writing, and the speaking of the English language. Duration of listening is 40 minutes, including 10 minutes transfer time in paper-based test, and the reading is 60 minutes, and the writing is also 16 minutes, and the speaking is 11 to 14 minutes. Usually, I mean, these three, I mean, what this is, reading, writing, and the listening, they takes on in the same days, but the speaking one, it takes maybe within the 7 days. Examiner must take the speaking test also. So they got total hours is 2 hours 55 minutes this test, and the score is 0 to 9 band. Actually, module is two modules, which is academic and journal. Academic is they usually do with the people who wants to attend the universities, or you want to work in the UK non-English language. People come from the non-English language countries, so they want to work in like UK, New Zealand, Australia. And journal training test is for the academic, for the work purpose or immigration purpose. Okay, this thing is okay. Now I can tell you about the listening one. Usually, listening is section 1 and 2 about every. They talk section 1 is like about everyday social situations, like you go to the pub, you go outside, you go any restaurant. So they talk about these things, and they got conversation between two people, like when they want to go to the traveling, are they traveling together? These things they talk about section 1. And the section 2 is the listening. They talk about any local facilities, like you go to the Trafalgar Square or in London, or you go to the London Bridge, you have to explain this. The section 2 is included in listening. But my tip is for the listening, if you forget one section, like one question, don't stay on the one question and look around. Move to the next one, try to complete, because you got the very short time. And basic these two things, and the reading paper has 3 sections and text totaling like 150 words. So first section is always be a paragraph or diagram. You have to evaluate, you have to explain within the words, but try not to use these words like connecting words. Try to use connecting words, however, whatever, these things, and trying to write spellings, because most of the people, what they do mistakes in the grammar and the spellings, and that's why they get penalized the marks in the reading also, or the or the writing also. And next one is writing, and then speaking test. Speaking, firstly, what they do, they ask the introduction, like face-to-face interview between the test taker and the examiner. This section also contains 3 section. I mean, speaking test contains also 3 section. First section is introduction and interviews, which is 4 to 5 minutes. Maybe examiner maybe ask about, yeah, like your home, your family, work, studies, hobbies, interest. The reason why is asking is testing your ability, what you are talking, and your knowledge and your grammatical things. His test taker is always judging you by asking this thing, which is 4 to 5 minutes. And then second section in speaking long term, which is 3 to 5 minutes. He can test takers will give you any scenario or any task card about any particular topic, any topic about the topic. They will ask you, and you trying to explain. Then again, in this section also, test taker is judging you upon your reaction, your grammar, and your sentence, joining words. These things they are, I mean, judging you, test taker basically. And the last section, which is third section, involves the discussion between the examiner and the test takers, generally on question relating to the theme which they have already spoken about in section 2. This question usually consists of 2 sets of 4 or 5 questions. So it's like what they ask you second, which one they ask you already second section, only just evaluate or like to explain these things. And again, examiner will judge you to your grammar, your spellings, and your joining words, how you join the words, how you talk about, how you complete a sentence, and properly used tenses also. So these are the 4 or 5. My tips is my previous experience. My tips is try to read newspaper to increase your reading power. If you increase your reading power, and you can skim the words, skim the question in reading, because in reading you got very short time and you need to finish the full paragraph and skim the words from them reading. So if you have a habit to reading newspaper, what I did it in my past, reading newspaper, any kind of journals, because reading comes from the journals, BMJ, British Medical Journals, or any other, which is National Geographic. These journals quietly read at least 1 or 2 page daily basis. And third, second, listening you can improve by listening a radio, which I did it in past. I was listening at LBC radio, because there is a presenter and so many people, different background people, they call on that radio and they start discussing. So by that listening them, you can pick up their what they call is pronunciation also. So sometimes you get confused with the pronunciation, you didn't hear properly. And second, most important is when you are in exam center, don't be shy. If you can't hear properly, straight away mention to the examiner, so you can't hear properly, so they can rectify the mistakes and you can hear properly. When you hear the properly, if you can't hear the properly, then you cannot fulfill the question marks, which is very important. Please don't be shy. So these are the tips, my tips. You can prepare for the IELTS exam, and then hopefully you can get the good marks, and which is first steps to the PLAB 1 and PLAB 2. I think I have not spoken much more. Or
Okay, Dr. Adnan.
any question or any?
Yeah, sorry, do you have any question for that part? I think you can just type it into the chat. You can.
Let me see chat. Sorry, I'm using a mobile. I don't know how to open chat. Let's see. I can't see any chat, any question yet.
Okay.
I think someone has asked, can the exam be taken from your home country?
Yes, please. Any country, which is, I think they got more than 100 countries, 80 or more than. Short question is, okay, if you are in Pakistan,
that link
Bangladesh,
that
you can attend.
Zoom link. The Zoom link, no.
Innocent, kindly mute your computer stuff, please.
Hello?
Dr. Adnan, you can go ahead.
Yes, you can take an exam in your home country, but again, follow the British Council guideline. Sometimes they suspend, sometimes because of the other issue they suspended. So follow the British guideline, Council guideline, or Australian. But yes, you can take in your country IELTS exam. Secondly, now they introduce OET also. If you are a doctor and you are struggling to doing IELTS exam, you can do OET exam, which is organized by the Australia. But in OET, mostly you can face related to the medicine. So this is the good news for the doctors also. When I did it, at that time there was only just IELTS exam. Now, if you're struggling in IELTS, you can do OET, which is all the material comes from your medicine.
Okay. So are there any other question? Did someone just ask? Dr. Adnan, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, someone just asked that with the IELTS format be influenced in any way by one's
Will the
profession?
IELTS format be influenced in any way by one's profession as a doctor in this case? Is IELTS basically what it was designed by to judge you how you speak English, how you are spoken language, like people come from the third world countries. Then my language was second in English, but still when you come here in England, you still struggle to contact with the patient. Yes, is influenced format, but now in recently they did it again. I said, if you are good in IELTS, keep doing IELTS preparation. If not, if like you say, oh, you tried 2 times, 3 times, and then you, because in IELTS you need consistency. If you don't have the consistency and you keep failing, you'll be very disappointed. So that's why they introduce OET. So if you want to do the OET, go for the OET, or if you want in IELTS and you are very confident, then go for the IELTS. But that's, yes, it is format.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Adnan. There's another question. Wait, yeah. Does a person's accent affect assessment?
Does a person accent affect assessment? No, no at all. Only just when you speak, when you are on speaking session, try not to talk very loudly and very abruptly. Try to talk softly, gently. Connecting words must be your exam taker must listen connecting words, however, whatever, joining words plus your tenses. So use the more like professional language and very softly and very abruptly, not very abruptly. So my personal experience, that's what I'm trying to say, everyone who have, because if you talk very loudly or very like examiner will not understand this thing, and then he will might penalized, and you don't have rights to appeal that. Might be you talk very loud, properly, but be professional. The second one,
Okay.
occupational English test is designed to meet the specific English language needs of the healthcare sector. Yes, basically occupational English test is designed with the people who are struggling with the IELTS exam. So is designed from the Australia, but still they check your English proficiency also in this OET also, but material will be in medicine.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Adnan. Any
You're
other
welcome.
question?
Thank you.
Any other question before we move to the next presentation, which is at PLAB 1? Okay, any other question? Dr. Adnan, thank you for the presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Innocent.
So
Thank you very much, iMedics. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, so we'll be moving to the next move to the next section, which is PLAB 1, and Dr. Balogun will be taking that part. Good evening, Dr. Balogun.
Good evening, Ines, and thank you for inviting me to speak for an iMedX platform. Do you want to say anything, or do you want me to go ahead to talk?
You can go ahead, and if possible, if you can put on your video. Don't mind.
Why? Did you ask Dr. Adnan to put on his video? Why
I actually forgot. I was sorting out some things.
I think someone just asked a question, so if someone can reply to them in the chat, because I can't remember the answer to that question. I think it's about 6 weeks or so. I can't remember.
Dr. Adnan's here around. Oh, he left already.
Yeah. You can just Google it, really. I can't remember the answer to that question. I think it's about 6 weeks.
Okay.
Or so.
Okay.
I'm not going to put in my video.
Okay, that's fine.
Unless I have a presentation, that's why. So you'll be seeing more of my slides. I'll just share my screen quickly.
Okay.
Let's see, PowerPoint presentation. So, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Can you see something about PLAB 1 showing my presentation?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Good. All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar. My name is Dr. Balogun, a doctor in the UK, basically. So I'll be talking about PLAB 1. Before I start, there are a couple of people that booked their PLAB 1 exams today. Today was the day to book PLAB 1 for 2023. So if you're able to book, if you weren't, I hope you're able to book for November next year, or if there's still space to book this year. I heard there were still some spaces this year. So all the best to everyone with booking their PLAB 1s. It'll be very, very difficult. So just to start, I'll be talking about what PLAB 1 is, the exam content, when you can book a test date for, the location and exams, how to go about booking your exam, what tools you can use to practice, where you can get sample questions from, how the exam day is going to be like, when you get your results, and what happens after you pass or fail PLAB 1. I hope everyone can still hear me. Innocent, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, good. So basically, PLAB 1 is Professional Linguistics Assessment Board. That's the full meaning of PLAB 1. And it's basically the exam, the first step in the exams you get to write in the UK to get licensed as a doctor in the UK after, passing your English or providing your English language test exam. So basically, it basically just tests your knowledge about current best practices in the UK. So I know everyone has their knowledge about what they've learned from the different countries, from the different areas. And the truth is, people that write PLAB 1 exams, you're going to see people just graduating from medical school up to people that are already consultants in their fields. So the truth is, for people that are already consultants, that a bit at a little disadvantage because they're already specialized in the field and they're not used to the general knowledge that someone that's just graduating just finished from. So if you're one of those people get an exam with a consultant, trust me, if you're just graduating, you probably have more advantage over that person. So in the end, it's all about preparation and how each individual prepares, how you prepare for the confidence you have when you go into the exam, how fast you are when you're writing the exam as well. So basically, you just have to be able to answer questions relating to the level of a foundation doctor in the UK. Foundation doctor is basically what we call internships in our various countries. They have 2 years in the UK, which is foundation year doctor 1 and foundation year doctor 2, before they go on to start their training in the UK. So you have to have knowledge of the level of the foundation year doctor 2 for your PLAB exams, which is at the level they're hoping you'll be at when you come to start working in the UK. So basically, the exam contains 180 multiple choice questions and have 5 options, and you have to pick one answer, and you have about 3 hours to answer all your questions. The time might look long, but it isn't long because the questions are very, very long. Yeah, sometimes they're very long, and you have to read, through the long and then read all your options before you then get to your answer. And some answers look quite similar. So you really have to be careful with kind of answers you pick, and you have to work with time as well. I've heard some people don't finish, they don't finish during the exam because they've spent a lot of time thinking about answers for too long. Don't waste your time. If you don't know an answer, just leave it and just notice. You can maybe use a pencil to asterisk it and go back later. But if you're not sure about an answer, I advise that you just leave it and move on to the next question. Don't bother taking time answering that answer if you don't know the answer to the question, because you have very limited time. There is no negative marking. So it's better you do those questions, move on to the ones you possibly know, and then finish everything, go back to the ones you don't know, and then still pick something. Even if you don't know the answer, still pick something. What you pick might end up being the right answer anyways. There's no negative marking. So just try to do that. So basically, ensure you answer all the questions. Very, very important, very important. So the test dates, basically now they're running tests in February, May, August, and November every year. Today, like I said, was the day a lot of people got to book for 2023. Apparently, there's still some dates in November 2022 available. So whoever got to book that date was lucky. And I hope there are still a few spaces left, because a lot of people said they still haven't gotten to book. Some people weren't able to get their English exams ready to book for today. So hopefully there's still some spaces left. They haven't released November 2023 dates yet, which they will release later this year. So hopefully people can still book for next year once they get their English requirements ready. So like I said, 2023 dates are gradually being released over the year, which people booked today anyway. So all the best to everyone booking exams. It's a very stressful, PLAB 1 and PLAB 2 are very stressful periods where people have to book their exams. And I have to be honest with you, it's not an easy task. People have been waiting for years to book exams. Some people waiting for months as well. Some people having to cancel their exams due to one thing or the other. So just plan yourself very well. Just plan. That's just the thing. You just have to plan. Where can you do your PLAB 1 exams? PLAB 1 exams, just like the IELTS, are being run in several countries. So these are the countries, all the countries that basically have their PLAB 1 exam. So if you don't see your country there, then you have to go to one of these countries to write your PLAB 1 exam. One advice that I gave, I did a Twitter space recently to teach people how to prepare to book their PLAB 1 exams. And the thing is, you have to really, really prepare, because there are certain things you will need to put in place to book your exam and all that. So when it comes to location, you try not to limit yourself to where you are, because there will always probably be a queue to enter the GMC website to book your exam. And if people have booked all the spaces where you are currently living in, then you have to find other options. So the important thing is to just keep your mind open, have an open mind. Don't limit yourself to the country that you're living in, or not even if it's the country you want, but don't limit yourself to the state you're in. For example, in India, there's several places to do the exams, so you don't have to limit yourself to one area. You can try to have backup plans where you're booking your PLAB 1 exams. If you don't get in your country, you can try to see if you can get a neighboring country, you can book it. For example, if you live in Nigeria, then you can try to book in Ghana if you don't find a space in Nigeria. So people have to have open minds in terms of test locations. Don't limit yourself to one place. If you have the funds as well, if your account is endowed, you can try to travel to other countries as well, as far and wide as you can go, because PLAB 1 test spaces are very, very, very highly demanded. It is very highly demanded, and I'm not joking with you. So you have to really, really open your horizons and think of other places you can go to apart from your country. Always, always have a backup plan. In terms of booking the exam, all you have to do is go to www.gmcuk.org, as you can see on the screen there, and then go to GMC Online. You should have created your GMC Online, what's it called now? Your accounts, basically. You have to create a GMC Online account where you upload your English test and make sure that you already have your medical qualification. You have to be a graduate from medical school before you can write your PLAB 1 exam. You must have graduated from medical school, because you're going to have to upload your medical qualification. your English test, that's your IELTS or OET. Sometimes they accept, depending on a case-by-case basis, they might accept English language evidence of letters from your employer. If you know your country speaks English, you have to go to their page on the GMC website to find other alternatives on the English language evidence. But the basic ones are just doing the IELTS or the OET, and then you upload that. So once you have your medical qualification, you have your English test, just upload it. Then they'll scrutinize your account, see if you're eligible to, book a PLAB 1 exam. And then once they've verified that you are eligible, then you can then book your PLAB 1 exam, which this year costs £247. Due to yearly inflations, the price increases practically every year. I think last year was about 243 or so. So it's not like it's terribly increasing, but something gets added onto it because of inflation every year. So next year, it most likely would not be £247. So when you're booking, always have in mind that if there are any issues and you have to cancel, you can go to the link we have put there for cancellation costs. In case you have to cancel your PLAB 1 exam, there are costs for cancelling at certain times. So if you go to that link there, you see the costs of cancellation for the period before the exam that you are cancelling the exam. I know if someone has asked me before, is there a way to change my test date if I need to book an earlier date? And I'm like, no, you have to cancel your current date and then book a new date. Sometimes it's actually easier just to keep the date you've already picked because you just might not get another date because PLAB 1 is quite difficult to book. In terms of practice tools, I am not going to be advertising for anyone or any academy. There are several academies out there. I'm sure iMedics probably has links to their question banks or whatever they do, but I'm not advertising for anyone. So on an individual basis, do your research, pick whichever one is convenient for you. Practice a lot of mock exams as much as you can before the exam date. There are groups on Facebook you can join as well. So go on Facebook. If you haven't opened your Facebook in years, this is the reason why you have to open your Facebook again. There are a lot of groups you can join on Facebook where they discuss a lot of PLAB things. So those are my two advices. Get a question bank, join groups on Facebook to ask questions and stuff. So those are the two major things you need to do, and practice questions as well. There are some free sample questions on the GMC website as well in that link. So you can understand how these questions look like. So there's a link there on the GMC website where you can see sample questions, and then you can see what it looks like, and then you can practice a few if you want. They're not much, but at least you get to see what it looks like and what it might have a feel of what the exam questions might be like. So basically, like I said earlier, you'll be tested on the level of a foundation year 2 doctor, which is someone that basically has just finished his internship and is about to go into training. They need to know that you can operate at that level when you come into the UK, and they'll be testing you based on current UK best practices. So if you're practicing in various countries that are slightly different, then you might need to chuck that aside for now. But a lot of things are actually basic medical things where the questions are things that literally you'd have already been taught in medical school anyways. So you just need to kind of refine your knowledge to what the practices in UK are, and then answer a question based on that. But like I said, you definitely need to practice because there are a lot of practices in the UK that are quite different from what we have in our various countries. On the exam day, of course, you go to your exam center, and then you might experience COVID guidelines. In the UK here, I know people are not wearing masks anymore anyway, so it depends on where you are in the country or wherever they are, you might want to put COVID guidelines in place. Most times you have to take a passport to the center as a form of identification, and you have to take a booking confirmation with a reference on it. Usually, if you go on the website, on GMC website, they'll tell you if you forgot your passport, because some people forget their passports at home and forget to give their form of identification. They usually still let you write the exam, but then you still have to submit your form of ID to them later, because it has to be sure that you are the person that wrote the exam anyways. So but you can check the website just to confirm that statement, if I remember correctly. So on the exam day, you write your exam. Like I said, you have to be sure, you have to be fast, not too fast to miss what you're doing, not too fast so you don't think appropriately and pick the right answers. But quick enough not to be wasting time if you don't know what the answer is. If you don't know an answer, just watch the next question. Don't even bother wasting any time, please. You must finish everything. You just have to. You have to finish everything. The more you answer, the more you can get right, at least. So in terms of results, for PLAB 1, results are released 6 weeks after the exam. It's a long wait, very long wait. It can be quite annoying. You'll be very tense. You start dreaming of what you wrote. You probably be having nightmares of PLAB 1 exam every day. I'm speaking from personal experience. You probably be asking your friends every day that you wrote the exam with and be saying, what do you think this was? And may I reiterate to everyone, I am pleading and pleading. This is a plea, actually. Please do not discuss your exams on any platform afterwards, because some people, let me not say some people, but there is a case where, someone was reported to have been discussing the exam questions after. And the truth is, when you're booking your PLAB 1 exams, there is a terms and conditions which reiterates that you should not discuss your exam questions after the exam at any point. So by agreeing to, a lot of us don't read the terms and conditions. By accepting the terms and conditions, you've agreed legally binding that you would not be discussing it. So if you go ahead to discuss it, you'll be doing so at your own risk. There was a case where someone was reported for discussing this, had to face a panel, and they eventually had to cancel the person's results because it was against their rules. So they canceled the person's result, and then that was null and void. So just be very careful. After the exam, please try not to discuss the exam questions as much as you can. So yeah, like I said, results are released 6 weeks after the exams. Can be quite daunting, waiting that long to get your results back. And basically you access your results on the My Test section and your GMC Online account that you created when you're trying to book the exam anyways. And the results are usually released based on 3 major domains that they group your results into. The domains are basically where one is application of knowledge and experience in your clinical practice. One is about your good clinical care in terms of assessing the patient. And the last domain is in terms of how you manage your patient. So these domains are how questions will be, in terms of assessment management and how you apply knowledge, basically those 3 things. So based on how many questions are released under each domain, they would actually group your results in those domains as well and say, oh, out of all the questions that were asked in this domain, this was the percentage you got in that domain, and this was the average everyone else got in that domain as well. So you can see the domains you did really well. That means if you're really good at managing patients, it just helps you know, oh, I'm really good at managing patients. Oh, I'm really good at assessing patients. Oh, I'm really good at applying knowledge to clinical practice. And then for pass mark, there's no set pass mark. There's no pass mark set in stone at all. All the pass marks are dependent on everybody's mark. I remember when I wrote my PLAB 1 exam, I was begging my friends not to pass too much so that we can all have average marks. So your pass marks are dependent on everyone else writing exams on that day all over the world. So you really, really have to just try to do your best, honestly, because you're going against everyone else's mark. That's just it. There's no specific mark. So based on everyone's mark, they use something called an Angoff method to calculate what the average score is what the pass mark is going to be. So sometimes the pass mark is usually about maybe 2 to 3 or 4 scores below the average score, or maybe 2 to 3 scores just above the average score. So it depends. It's usually around that circle. I remember during my time, the average score was 125 over 180, and then the pass mark was 120. So everyone that got below 120, of course, did not pass. And everyone that got up to 120 and above, of course, passed their exams. So that is how they set the pass marks. So there is no pass mark set in stone at all. So after you've done your PLAB 1 exams, of course, 2 things are going to happen. You either pass or fail. If you pass, congrats to you. You go ahead to book your PLAB 2, of course, as soon as possible, because PLAB to get to book your PLAB 2 is also another entirely, issue. But I'm sure Dr. Pepple will speak to you about PLAB 2 in a bit. And of course, if you fail, honestly, a lot of people fail, but it's not the end of the world, honestly. I have friends that have failed once or twice and they've written again. I have people that have written 3 times and in the end, they're now working in the UK as doctors. So just have an open mind that if you don't pass, it's not the end of the world. Just get yourself up again and just write the exam again, honestly. Cry if you have to, get disappointed if you have to. But if there is a new booking around the time that you failed, please, please, please don't let it hold you back from booking the exam again, because you have a goal in mind, you have a goal to work in the UK, and just, stick to that goal and just book the exam again and read as much as you can again, ask questions, get people to help you. You cannot do everything on your own. If you're a kind of person that is shy and don't like asking questions, if you fail, I think you should better ask someone and let people help you as much as they can. Ask questions, get advice from people as much as you can. So in terms of PLAB 1, you have 4 attempts to write the exam. If you failed 4 times and you don't pass, you have 1 more attempt. And the only reason why they'll give you that 5th attempt is if you've provided evidence of practicing for another additional 12 months in your country and you've demonstrated good clinical practice after that 12 months, and then they can possibly give you a chance to write the exam for the 5th time. But of course, we don't hope for anyone to fail 4 times and not, pass the exam. But there are people that have passed at the 1st attempt. So you just have to keep trying until you get your goal. Try not to get frustrated. Try to just keep going ahead. So yeah, that is all I would say for now. Thank you all for listening. If you have any questions, kindly put your questions in the chat. If you're too shy to ask questions in the chat or by speaking, you can send me a DM on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn as Boluwatito Balogun. I'll just put my name. I'll just go back to the first slide so you can see my name. You can send me a DM on LinkedIn because that's where my professional space is anyways. You can send me your questions there. I'm free to answer your questions there. If you're not on LinkedIn, if you're on any social media, I don't know, the only other place I'm comfortable answering questions, maybe Twitter. You can send me a Twitter DM or you can send me an email. I'll just put my email address and my, I'll put my email address and my Twitter handle for you to send me questions afterwards if you have to. Questions later. I'll put it in the chat and then you can message me if you want. But for now, if you have any questions now, kindly ask your questions and I'll kindly answer them. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then, I'll answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Okay, so if you have any question, complete the question answer box for Dr. Balogun to answer.
Someone said, can the link to the sample questions be sent to the chat box? I'm not sure.
I think you can just check GMC.
If you go to the GMC website, www.gmc-uk.org, you'll be able to navigate your way to the sample questions, really. Because for me to paste it, I'll have to, okay, oh, great, someone has put it up. Thank you so much. Yeah, good. So I'm going to, put my email address in the chat box for everyone to see if you need to. Yeah. How is UKMLA different from PLAB? UKMLA is something that was supposed to be introduced at some point, but they haven't started it. I think they're going to they're planning to phase out the PLAB at some point and then change it to UKMLA. I can't remember when they're targeting to do that now. I'm not sure if it's 2023 or 2025. I can't remember.
I think 2024, 2025.
Yeah, so PLAB is going to be phased out at some point, and then you get UKMLA. That's just what it is. So it's just going to be PLAB in a different form, basically. And when that time comes, of course, everyone's going to get information about, what it's going to entail, what the changes are going to be, and everything. So yeah, advice, if you need updated news, you can follow the GMC blog. You can follow GMC on Facebook, on Twitter, and you'll probably get updates about it when it happens, when it drops anyways. Let's see, question Q&A. Is PLAB 1 computer-based or paper and pencil exam? PLAB 1 is paper and is it pencil, yeah. Because it's gonna be like, it's a Scantron sheet or something, yeah. And then they put it in the computer and it just marks it. So it's paper-based. Paper-based, yeah. Can temporary license be used to apply for house officers in Nigeria, or you'd have to wait for a permanent license? Once you've graduated, they don't need your full registration license. Once you've graduated, you can write the exam. Once you have your MBBS qualification, what you need your full registration for is when you're registering to get the license in the UK. After you passed your PLAB 1 and your PLAB 2, and you need to register to get your GMC license, then you need your full registration to get the license. So yeah, you need your full registration to get the license to work in the UK after you've passed your exams, but you don't need to wait for your full registration to start writing your exams, basically. And I know in Nigeria, full registration comes after house job. So in the 1 year after you've passed your MBBS, you have 1 year to do your house job. So in that 1 year, you can do your PLAB 1, PLAB 2, if you're able to, if you're chanced, or if you're lucky to book those exams by that time. You do that, and then hopefully you're done with your house job, you get your full registration, and then you can then, apply for your GMC for your GMC license. You have to finish your house job, you have to finish your internship. It's advisable to finish your internship and get your full registration before you get your license. Some people go through another route, which is something different entirely, where they try to apply into the foundation program, but it's a pain. So it's advisable just do your internship in your country, honestly, and just finish and then apply for your license to practice in the UK. Someone said, I read on the GMC website that the UKMLA will introduce by 2024. So I'd like to know if it's possible to write the PLAB 1 before 2024 and then use that result to write the step 2 of UKMLA. I'm as much in the dark as you are, because they haven't released any statement or anything about UKMLA. So it will be difficult to answer that question for you. But I'm pretty sure if they're releasing dates for PLAB 1 in 2023, then I'm sure they have plans to sort people out that still have to write their PLAB 2 exams afterwards. So I'm definitely sure they're not going to say, oh, you wrote your PLAB 1 in 2023, now it's UKMLA cancelled. No, they'll definitely have plans for everyone, I'm sure of that. So I don't think you should worry too much about that. Just do what you have to at the moment. And then, when that time comes, they will definitely have plans for everyone. Is Nigeria amongst the venue where one can write the PLAB exam? Yes, I initially put up a screen. Nigeria, you can write in Lagos, Abuja, and Enugu in Nigeria. But like I said, PLAB 1 bookings are very difficult these days. So it is important that you try to have a backup country. You can go to Ghana to write your exam if you can as well. People tired. People sometimes don't get space in Nigeria. So have a backup plan, basically. How long is the PLAB 1 result valid for? It is valid for 2 years. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. Thank you for bringing up that question. Your PLAB 1 result is valid for 2 years as well. So after writing PLAB 1, please make sure you try to write your PLAB 2 within that 2 years where it's valid for. Try as much as you can to write your PLAB 2 within that period. So yeah, PLAB 1 results valid for 2 years. The link to access your presentation slide. You can send, I can send it, whoever wants the slide should send me a message on my, because I haven't uploaded it to Google Drive at all. And I'm not sure if IMLX have a list of attendees so they can send it to everyone's emails. So what I can do is I'll upload it on Google Drive. And then, or all slides are, oh, okay. They said all slides are on YouTube. So I guess if this has been recorded or something, then you'll see it on YouTube. Yeah, YouTube link. Yeah, so the session has been recorded, so you can see my slides again on the YouTube link according to the IMLX chat. But if you still want it, personally, you can send me a DM. I can send it to you if you want. If you can write the PLAB 2 within 2 years, if you can't write the PLAB 2 within 2 years, do you start over? So it depends on your reason. If you had a valid reason for not writing it within 2 years, just send the GMC an email, and because they usually assess people's situations on a case-to-case basis. So if you honestly had good valid reason for not using your PLAB 1 within those 2 years, then you can send them an email, and then they'll see if they can extend the validity for you. Just as the same way IELTS issues happened with the COVID pandemic, a lot of people's IELTS were expiring and they had not written their PLAB 1 exams. They had to extend it to 3 years instead of 2 years. So on a case-to-case basis, as long as you have a valid reason for not doing your PLAB 2 within 2 years, maybe you weren't able to book an exam or you're denied visa or something, then you can definitely send them an email, and then they'll definitely see if they can extend the validity for you, as long as you have a valid reason. Any other questions?
Yeah, there's some in the chat box.
Does someone want to talk to ask a question? Or?
Yes, I think there's a question in the chat box.
Where? I can only see one,
Okay.
but I already answered it.
Okay, let me just read it out.
How long is the PLAB 1?
That one. Okay, thank you for your presentation, Dr. Balogun. You have emphasized that the fact that booking PLAB 1 is difficult. What tips would you say leave the process? Yeah.
Oh, okay, that question. What tips? Number 1 tip: get your English exam sorted ASAP, as soon as you can. Get it out of the way. Once you've got it out of the way, once you get the ball rolling, I know some people say, oh, I'm trying to get finance in place, so I'm just trying to see if I can gather all the money to do all the exam from IELTS to PLAB 2. But the truth is, if you do that, then you're going to wait for a long time, because the truth is not everyone has the funds to wait that long. So if you have the funds for each step, then just try to do it. And then as you're planning for the next one, try to raise the funds for the next one. So tips: get your English exam out of the way, as soon as possible. Follow blogs or follow Facebook pages, like I said, that give you updates on when next you get to book your PLAB exams. Like I said, I'll not be advertising for anyone because IMLX is the one doing the platform here. But if you need more information or something, you can message me in terms of where the kind of blogs you can. GMC has a blog as well. You can follow them. They give you updates about when you can book your PLAB 1 exam. So once you know when you can book your PLAB 1 exams, just target your English exam around that time. That is if you're sure you're going to pass your English exam once as well. So for example, people that booked PLAB 1 today should at least have had their English exam done earlier this year, maybe January. They should have already passed it. They should have started attempting to pass the exam earlier this year and not last year, because you don't want your English exam validity to be too extended as well. To take too long before you book your PLAB 1, because you still then need that English exam as part of your license registration when it's time to register for your full license. So the truth is, you should try to get everything done within two years. That's from the English exam to passing your PLAB 2. You should try to get everything done within 2 years, because you need that English exam to also register for your full license when it's time to register for your full license. So get your English exam done. Within 6 months, try to book your PLAB 1 exam. When you're booking for your PLAB 1 exam, try to ensure that you have a good paying pathway, because some people go to pay for their PLAB 1 exams and it keeps messing them up. If you have a dollar card, use it. If you have someone abroad that has an international card, like a pound card, use it instead. If you have good Wi-Fi, make sure you use your Wi-Fi and don't rely on your mobile network to book an exam. So before that date, make sure your English exam is ready. You've passed your MBBS, you've gotten your full qualification as a doctor, and that you've targeted the dates that you want to book. You know when PLAB 1 bookings are for, and you know by that date you want to be ready. So English exam, check. Payment, check. Wi-Fi, check. Those things have to be ready before you book your PLAB 1 exam. And then, yeah, you should be able to get a space if the site isn't so crowded. I think today someone told me she was number 3,800 on the queue to enter the GMC website today to book a PLAB 1 exam. So it can be quite daunting, but as long as you've done your part and you're open-minded, like I said, you don't have to stick to your state. If you can't find your state, just go to another state or another country entirely to book your exam. It is very important. That is for PLAB 1. PLAB 2 is only in one place anyway. It's only rest in the UK. So that's another thing. Dr. Pepple will talk to you about that. So, but for PLAB 1, you have several different countries you can go to. So don't put yourself in one space to book that exam. So yeah, that's what I'll say for now. Did someone else ask something? How easy or hard is it to get a residency placement in the UK having passed PLAB 1 and 2? I think maybe we should ask that after Dr. Pepple has spoken. Maybe we can answer that after Dr. Pepple has spoken. So I don't take too much time answering questions. So I don't know who asked that question. It says K something. But whoever it is asking that question, re-ask it again after Dr. Pepple has spoken, so that we don't take too much time answering questions on PLAB 1, the PLAB 1 session alone. Does anyone else have any other questions? I can't see any other questions in the chat. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Balogun. Thank you so much for the presentation. Okay. So we'll be starting the next session soon. And please, if you're on Twitter, you can follow Dr. Balogun. She posted that Twitter handle. Yeah, she also has a YouTube channel, so you can also follow. Okay, subscribe to our channel. So we'll be moving to the next section by Dr. Pepple. Thank you so much, Dr. Balogun.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Good evening, Dr. Pepple.
Hi, good evening, guys. How are you?
Good evening. I'm fine. Really sorry for the time. Yeah. Yes, so Dr. Pepple, you can carry on.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. So thank you very much for the opportunity. Although you've made me have a lot of accumulation of patience right now, because I told you guys I was working today, and you wanted me to be here 5 minutes past 5. I shut down my clinic, and I've been here for more than an hour. That's not so good, not keeping to time. But yeah, thank you. If you had told me the exact time you want me to come in, that would have been better, so I don't keep my patients just waiting. But yeah, I'm here. I like to talk. I like to teach. So yeah, thank you very much for, can you give me a screen share, please?
Yes, thank you very much. Okay.
Right, so. All right, guys. So my name is Dr. Eliza Douglas-Iyalla Pepple. I'm from Port Harcourt, Nigeria. I practice here in the UK, and yeah, I did part of my medical school in Nigeria as well, and the remaining part here in the UK. I'm a UK qualified GP, which is what you call family medicine back home in Nigeria, and family practice in America, depends on where you are from. And yeah, I also do a lot of social media stuff, basically teaching. My passion is teaching and trying to, you know, brighten the path for people who are coming after us. That's one thing that is a bit lacking in the Black community, is about mentorship. And that's what I have specific and particular interest in. And I also do YouTube videos for international medical graduates and international students who are transitioning to study or to practice here in the UK. And my resources are available, which you can check out, and I hope that will be useful to you as well. So today I will be talking on PLAB 2 with to UK practice. And I just want to say thank you to the organizers of this program. It's quite a very insightful one. And also iMedics, and also want to particularly thank Dr. Balogun. That was quite a very good presentation. You've made my job a lot easier. Thank you. So yeah, and also the other Dr. Ghori, who talks on IELTS. Oh yeah. So I just want to do a very quick, this is going to be a 20-minute discussion. And if you've got questions, you can pop them in while the conversation is going on. If I can't answer all of them, obviously I can't, because I will be running off in 20 minutes or so. You can send me messages on the social media platform, on Instagram, Twitter, mostly. YouTube is for content, you know, yeah. And I'm very, very happy to respond to you within 48 hours. Right, so we're talking about PLAB 2, which is what will be the main conversation, the format of the exams, eligibility, pass mark, the cost and how to schedule your exams, how to prepare, study techniques, and easy practicable steps, and you know, personal experience on how you can easily go through this process. I suppose this is a group of students, really, medical students mostly. So some of you might not really benefit from this conversation today, because you were still in medical school trying to get your degree. But a few of you who are already doctors, then you probably have to pay more attention. I think it's quite a proactive step you've already taken if you're in med school and you are learning about this. I'll just tell you personally, I wanted to come to the UK when I was from university. I knew I was going to come, right? So immediately after university, I did house job. 4 months after house job, I left. I didn't even do youth service because I knew I was going to the UK, you know. So whilst I was in uni, I was asking questions, and I've been here for 8 years now. So you can imagine when I came, I was like among the first set of people to come from my uni. I went to University of Port Harcourt, and also went to University of Calabar, Human Anatomy, University of Port Harcourt, before I went to Calabar for medical school. So I was really asking, trying to get information on how to go about all these international exams, but we never really had people around us who have gone through this. So it was quite difficult. But one day I remember we had a British cardiologist who came to teach for just 2 weeks. And I was asking him about how to practice in his country. He also didn't know, because most British people don't really know how people get into this country to practice. Only us, the IMGs, the international medical graduates, that know about all these things. So it's quite a very good step now for you guys to have all this information at your beck and call. I think it will be very, very useful, especially if you're not even going to use this now, just having it at the back of your mind and preparing and planning towards it. So just quickly, PLAB 2 is, someone asked earlier, what is PLAB? Professional Linguistics and Assessment Board exams. PLAB 2 used to be 16 stations, but after COVID, I think it's now 15 stations. Each station is for 8 minutes. You've got 90 seconds, that's a minute and a half, in between one station to the next. And you're supposed to use that time to read the instructions and the task before you get into your actual station. And yeah, this exam is set at the level of a UK Year 2 foundation doctor. Foundation Year 2 basically is like house job in Nigeria. So whatever it is you're supposed to handle at the end of your house job is the standard at which the PLAB 2 exam is set. I remember your PLAB 1 exam was basically about clinical knowledge, but PLAB 2 is mostly about communication, about interpersonal skill, customer relationship, and all of that, less of clinical management and all of that. So it's something that you need to be aware of because that will affect your preparation for the exam as well. So going forward, for you to do very well, personally, I like preparation very much in whatever I'm doing. So I believe that I'm a Christian, yeah, I know the Bible says that if you want to build a house, you first of all sit down and count the cost. So I believe that if you want to do such a capital intensive program, exams especially, need to have studied the report of the previous exams, see where people did well, where they didn't do well, and where you need to, consolidate and develop your strength. So that's where the GMC website comes in handy. Check that, you see PLAB 2 blueprint, just read about it, read the examiner's report, see how pass mark and, pass rates. The last one was 74% pass rate. And basically IMG seem to be very deficient in this. You can imagine the statistics, 1 in 3 international medical graduates fail the exams. That's because there are things that they're not doing right. And the exam is expensive, £875. Sometimes it goes up to £906. It's just ridiculously expensive. So you need to try and do it once. The first time to get something right is the first time, or the best time to get something right is the first time. And what I always tell people is try to do, not to do twice what you can do once, So personally, from my experience, when I did the exams, I had a 6 weeks plan, which I will also talk to you about. And I think if you are in the process of doing PLAB 2, this plan will help you. So moving forward. Right. So the exam center, I think Dr. Balogun also talked a bit about this. It's done in Manchester. It's all year round. It's not like PLAB 1 where you have it quarterly. All year, every month there's a PLAB 2. Every month you need to just check whenever you are ready to write it and know which one will suit you best, and you just kind of apply for it. Be aware that in 2024, there's going to be a new exam, the UKMLA, similar to the USMLE. It's going to replace the PLAB exams. Remember that right now, UK medical graduates don't do PLAB. It is for international medical graduates, but in 2024, there's going to be a unification or unifying exams for everybody. So we don't know much about it anyways. We'll see how that goes with time. Now, what are the domains of these exams? What you are tested on is basically your data gathering skills, your clinical management, and your interpersonal skills. These are the areas that the exam covers. And when you're preparing, you need to know about data gathering, basically how you do your history taking. Examination is also part of data gathering. Do not forget, it's not management. Examination is part of data gathering. It's like just the normal OSCE exams you take in med school. If you're in year 5, year 6, you should have known, you should have been familiar with OSCE exams. So the other one they test is also your clinical management skills. You have scenarios and stations where you will have a patient with certain symptoms. You need to collect this patient and give your diagnosis and also your management plan. So how you formulate a management plan is quite important. Your interpersonal skill comes across all the different domains, both in data gathering and clinical management. Interpersonal skill is how are you icing this patient? ICE, it means you're getting ideas of the patient, you're trying to get their concern, you want to know their expectations. Every patient that comes to you in the UK has an expectation of what they want to be done concerning their problem. They have a concern why they've come to you in the first place, and they have an idea of what's going on with them. So a patient will not come to you with leg pain and swelling and has not thought in his mind or asked people around what DVT, something like that. So they have an idea of what's going on. It might not be the case, but they have an idea. Your ability to elicit all this information out of your patients places you on a very high pedestal and gives you that, that leverage to pass the exams. And that comes across how you're able to ask these questions and how you're able to interact very, very well with your patients. So you need to develop that skill. And fine. So I said there's a 6 weeks study plan on how to go about PLAB 2. So for your information, I am running a webinar called IMG Toolkit with some of my colleagues. It's a paid webinar anyways. So we also go deeper into, dissecting all these PLAB 1 and 2. We'll have one of the first webinar PLAB 1 coming up next week, Saturday. We'll talk more on that, but just a brief on this. What courses do you need to attend? Some people do PLAB without attending courses and they do well, but I won't advise you. The exam is expensive, man. 890 something pounds is it's almost like 700,000 naira. You don't want to waste that money, failing the exam and trying to do it again. So if you need to pay for a course, you better do. Now, if you're in Nigeria, what you can do is plan to be in the UK for 6 weeks. You can get your visa, everything, visitor's visa, you can get that. Remember, you can't work with visitor's visa anyways. Come to the UK for 6 weeks. The courses, there are so many of them around. Samson PLAB, Swami, PLAB, all of them. You can attend this course for 3 to 4 weeks. Whilst you're attending the course, you are practicing whatever you're taught. That's what I did. I go for the course in the morning and I go back and try to read over what I was taught. It will be difficult to really practice well because the courses are so intensive. And by the time the course is over, most of them finish in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or thereabouts. By the time you finish, you have 2-3 weeks extra to now consolidate on what you've learned and have a study partner where you start, studying all these scenarios and trying to rehearse them, So you first of all, understand what the exam is all about and try to cover the curriculum, right? Have study group. It gives you a sense of direction. It helps you to prioritize things and you develop a study routine. So do you want to attend the course in the morning, study in the evening, or just something that is specific to you, something that works for you? Choose your productivity space. Personally, I get distracted when I read with other people. So I like to be on my own to study. Then when I want to practice, I come and mix up with other people. So do that. And I have a formula that has worked for me and worked for so many people. I've studied this formula in high achieving academics and all that. The ACR formula works very well. If you check my YouTube video, there's a video on this. So accumulating all the materials and resources you need for any exams. Conceptual understanding is trying to know what depth of knowledge do you need for any particular exams you want to write. Is it superficial or deep knowledge? Then recall is when you start practicing, you start trying to recall what you've done. If you can explain what you've learned to a 5-year-old without looking at your book, then that means you've done active recall. You've really understood the subject topic. So these are the ways you should go about active listening. In the main exams, people fail because they are distracted, because they are not even listening to the patient. The patient has told you he has a right-sided abdominal pain. And in your history, you're now still asking him, where is the, later on you're asking, where is the pain, location of the pain. That doesn't make sense. It's because you're not listening very well. There's something called the golden minute, which is the first minute the patient comes to you, they want to tell you everything. Just let them speak. Let them speak. When they finish, from that early 1 minute time you've given them, they will tell you everything about their symptoms, tell you their ideas, their concerns, their expectations, and you now you can decipher and start picking out differentials, what to ask. Remember, this exams is not for students. It's not a time for you to show your knowledge as a student. No, this is for doctors. So doctors know that there are 100 causes of fever, but he doesn't have to go ask all the questions to cover all those 100 courses. That's what medical school stuff. You know, doctors know that out of the 100 courses of fever, and you are coming from Africa, that there are 2 or 3 main causes of fever for you coming from Africa. You probably have malaria or something. So he's asking you questions about malaria. He's not asking you questions about malignancy, because malignancy can also cause fever, but that doesn't make sense. That's medical school stuff, but this is doctor stuff, which is quite different, you know? So you concentrate on showing the examiners how you can interact with patients. You don't be formulaic, you don't cram scenarios and words and just want to say it that way. You need to be, that's why you need to pass the English language test anyways. So your English needs to be fluid. It's not about accent, it's about being smooth with your language progression and all of that. So you're expected to deal with the patient exactly as you would if you were the junior doctor seeing him or her in the clinic, not as a medical student. So they want you to exude that confidence when you are handling these cases. Confidentiality matters. These are just tips on how people feel. So I say mind the gap, gray area in terms of when you need confidentiality in patient stuff. You know, when you know how if you start practicing for these exams, they will tell you you want to ask a patient about, let's say for instance, someone has come to you with UTI or STI symptoms, and you want to ask a question. I say, do you mind if I ask you about your, you know, sexual, not even sexual, like about your sexual life or something? Come on, man. You're not a student, you're a doctor, you have the authority of a doctor. At this point, the patient knows that he's submitting himself to you as a doctor. You have to ask them the question straight. You don't need to beat around the bush, but you need to ask it very sensitively. You need to ask it, you know, in a way that's not going to be embarrassing to this patient. Signposting also, you know, when you signpost means you're moving from one topic to the other, but don't do it unnecessarily. You know how some people say, I just want to ask you a personal question. Is that okay? And patient say, okay. And I say, oh, do you smoke? Come on, man. How is smoking a personal question? So that means you are trying to make smoking look like an embarrassing activity for the patient. No, it doesn't make sense. So there are places where you need to signpost. There are places where you don't need to. So learning about this appropriately is also important. Then implied consent. There are consents that are outright. Some of them are implied. The earlier you understand this, the easier it is for you to go ahead with, you know, showing a good front to your examiner. Because first of all, in some stations, like the consultation stations, you have the patient who is a simulator, you have the examiner. Examiner doesn't talk to you, whatever you do. It's not like medical school where examiner might just give you a clue or just cough or whatever. No, they don't care. If you're killing the patient or if you're doing well, blank. They don't show any emotion at all. So it's something that you have to bring your A game, you know, into play. It's however appropriate when examining the patient to say, I would like to examine you, if that's okay. That's basically to check implied consent before proceeding. So you need to ensure you have chaperone. You need to ensure that you've got privacy, ensure that the patient is comfortable. Sometimes you might not even need the chaperone, but say, is it okay if I ask the examiner to be the chaperone for this examination? And yeah, they will say, that's fine, just move ahead. So awareness is the main thing. Awareness of the station and the questions, because the questions for this exam, some of the stations will be for clinical skills, some for examination using a mannequin or even a live patient. Some can be where you need to talk to a relative over the phone. Some can be where you need to calculate drug dosage like insulin, or even when you are injecting some medications into some drip. So you need to be aware of what the task for each station is about. Because if you don't know, you'll just be mixing them up. And when you start getting everything mixed up, then you are heading for disaster. Although the examination is an artificial environment, the examiners are judging you how you will perform in real life situation, because you're supposed to exude that confidence and that knowledge of a proper junior doctor in the UK. Eyes well. ICE is what the exam is all about. I keep saying this. ICE is ideas, concerns, and expectations. This is a communication exams majorly, and clinical knowledge only 30%. The rest is communication, how you are talking to these patients, how you're explaining things, how you're carrying them along, how you are, doing shared management and, showing awareness of your environment and also displaying your competence. So try not to invade the the role player space. There's a safe distance you need to maintain between you and your simulators. Try to make sure that you start your consultation very well in terms of how you address. You know that formulaic way of saying, how may I address you and all of that. I mean, it's not very natural. This exams is about you being natural. How will you, if you see someone for the first time and you're speaking to the person tells you, because the name is already written on the paper, I'm Dr. EDI, Dr. Douglas Pepple. Yeah. You can just ask me, okay, how will it be okay if I call you Douglas, or will it be okay if I call you Dr. Pepple? Just the way you have a normal conversation and not trying to do whatever they've taught you in one academy and they just want to pour that out. It might just come out as being formulaic. And one other thing people do is that they try to, because they say you need to be British, so you try to oversimplify different body parts, like you want to call ovary, egg bearing parts or bag or something. Come on, man, it doesn't make sense. There are simple things that British people understand. When you want to say anus, you just say back passage. That's simple, they know. Or you say number 2, that's if you're talking about toileting. You say number 1, which is about peeing, like urinating. They know that. You say, have you been sick today? Sickness means vomiting. So these are lingo that are common in the UK that you need to know. If you don't know them, someone comes and says he wants to spend a penny, or he has problems spending a penny. So that means he has problem urinating, So there are places on the internet where you see all these common phrases and understand them and get familiar with them. Make yourself organized, make your consultation organized. That's all you need. Don't need to be too super brilliant. It's just about you being well organized. If you run out of time during one station, don't stay there. Go to the next one, because that next one might even be easier for you. If you stay there and start crying over spilled milk, or the 90 seconds you're supposed to transition to the next station, you use it to think about the previous station. You're not giving yourself the mental rehabilitation and awareness and recuperation to get ready for your next station, which doesn't make sense. All you need to do to pass these exams is at least pass 11 stations. So if you start sulking at the stations you didn't do well, that's not fine. And also your rest stations, because you have 2 rest stations, people go there and start thinking of what they didn't do well in the previous stations. No, rest station is rest. When you get there, clear your mind of every baggage and every worry. Just rest. Take a deep breath in. Rest. For those 8 minutes of you being in one rest station, just rest. Get a glass of water. The exam lasts for almost 2.5 hours. It's such a long and very tedious, intense exams, Yeah, and for now, I'll just say that's all I've got to say. There are so many things to talk about PLAB too. If you want personal coaching and mentorship, I'm available. You can send me a message on my socials. And yeah, and I'm happy to respond to you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pepple. Please, are there any questions? Any questions? Let's see any question. Okay. The question in the Q&A box asked earlier about how easy or hard is it to get a residency placement in the UK, having passed PLAB 1 and PLAB 2.
All right, so that's a very interesting one. I like to talk about that a lot. So it used to be a lot difficult before to get into some specialties, but right now it's very easy. Not like it's very easy anyways. Now it's a lot easier to get into specialty training. Before GP, which is family medicine, psychiatry, internal medicine, used to be very easy to get into. Now it's not even easy to get into those anymore because there are a lot of people applying. So the competition ratio has gone up. Competition ratio is when they compare how many people are available or are ready, eligible to go into a specialty compared to the spaces that are available. But any specialty you want to go into is easy for you to, it's very, not easy, but very possible to get into. Some of them are very, very high skilled, like anesthesia, for instance. There are different competencies you need to get signed before you get into anesthesia, orthopedics, trauma, neurosurgery and all of that. But other specialties, obs and gynae, psychiatry, general practice, internal medicine, pathology even, if you meet the requirements, most of them will do the MSRA exams, which is multi-specialty recruitment assessment exams, which you use for obs and gynae, GP, psychiatry, radiology, and a few other ones. So there's something called person specification. If you go on Google, just type in person specification, you'll see that. So you can type in person specification for obs and gynae, for instance. You see the requirement for obs and gynae ST1 and you see for ST3. So you are basically coming in, if you're a fresh graduate, you're coming in for ST1. So you type, you just print out that form. That's what I tell people, just paste it on your wall in your room and just keep looking at the qualifications, the essential qualities and the desirable ones, the things you need to get, and start working towards them. If you need to get an audit, if you need to get MROCP or MROCOG or MROCG, MROCS, you start doing those things. If you need to have presented papers and conferences and all of that, you start doing all those things and get yourself ready. When it's time to apply, you apply. There are specialties you can do straight from Nigeria, like general practice, internal medicine, psychiatry. You can apply straight from Nigeria and come here straight and start, working. But I don't think I advise people to do that because you will really struggle. You haven't been exposed to UK work environment, so that's going to be a very big struggle. But if you want to live life on the fast lane, you can do that. So in a nutshell, specialty training in the UK is not as hard as it used to be, but it's also hard because the competition ratio is high. So you need to prepare very, very well. And nothing is impossible. Yeah, you can do whatever it is you want to do. All right, is that all? I can take one more question before I leave, guys. Just one. The rest can send me a message, like I said, on my socials, and I'm happy to.
Thank you. Just take this one. Please, how long is PLAB 2 valid?
PLAB 2?
Yes.
Oh, so that's a bit conflicting because I used to think it's 3 years because that's also what I saw on GMC website, but someone told me recently it's 2 years, so I'm not quite sure now. It's something that you probably have to confirm from GMC websites. So one more thing, guys. If you're planning to do PLAB 2, go to GMC UK website. There's a GMC PLAB 2 blueprint. Read that document very, very well. It will give you everything you need to know. Everything you need to know. All right.
Thank you so much. Please,
right,
other questions can be sent to his social media handling.
Yeah,
so I'm not sure if your email, not email, so social media handles, will be able to answer. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you. All right, bye.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. But thank you for joining the webinar, and I'll just be saying some things before we close the webinar. So most of the materials we might need for PLAB 1. I know iMedics offers some PLAB 1 past question banks and some webinars too. So you can check that out on their website, and they have some unique features. So if you want to check that out on their website, it's really nice. And also the PLAB 2, they also have some online teachings and some other things for PLAB too, so you can also check them out. Yeah, you'll be able to get the recording for the webinar. For the website, okay, let me just send in the website now. Oh, Dr. Mo, please, can you help with that? Okay. So then, apart from the question banks and the another product and services iMedics offers, iMedics also offer some programs like the membership program, which is a paid membership. So depending on the one you want to get. So we have, I think, £25 per year, £39 per year, I think £15 per year. So depending on the link has been sent to the chat. Then also the ambassadors program. In the ambassadors program, we get to recruit doctors, medical students, and also A-level students that are interested in some of the things iMedics does. So here you can, if you're interested in writing blog articles, which will be published on the website, you can apply for the ambassadors program. If you're also interested in podcasts, in creating podcasts, you can apply for the webinars. If you're also interested in mentoring people, depending on your qualification, you can join. And also if you are interested in teaching too, you can join, because we have some free webinars, so you can register and you can volunteer to like take a part of a webinar. So the ambassadors program, the 6th batch will be having a webinar tomorrow to run to like just explain the application process. So if you're interested, I think that's been sent to the chat also, so you can register and then see you at tomorrow. We'll see you at tomorrow's webinar, explaining everything you need for the ambassadors application. Then okay, and before I go, Dike I sent from the beginning, the 60 medical students at the University of Ibadan, Nigeria, and I also serve as the ambassadors president for iMedics. So also the visa support, if you want to write PLAB 2 and you need to go over to UK, iMedics also offer visa support too. So these are the products and services iMedics render. So if you are interested, you can just go to their website, everything is listed there, or you can send a mail to iMedics. Their mail is also on their website to ask any question you want to. So thank you so much for joining the webinar. And also, if you need any free webinar on any topic, and let's say, think there's a webinar we'll have to do like in few months' time about what else after PLAB 2, because most people are stuck after PLAB 2. Okay, do we need to apply for jobs in the UK straight away, or do we need to apply for residency? So depending on which path you want to take, we'll have a webinar on that. So, but if you think that there's any other webinar that you feel is important and many people are confused about, you can just let us know. You can send a mail to iMedics, then we'll try and organize a webinar concerning that. Thank you so much for joining from all over the world. Thank you. Goodbye. If you don't have any other question, yeah, the recordings will be uploaded to iMedics social media handles. So if you are following iMedics on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, you'll be able to get them there. So are there any other questions before I end the webinar? Okay, I think there's no for now. So thank you so much. If you're interested in the ambassadors program, please apply, and we'll see you at tomorrow's webinar. Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye, guys. Thank you very much for joining.